First of all, thank you for joining, so it makes this possible. Okay, thank you, boss.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, take care. So, the Pasuk says, Vechol Hoom Roim, we're on page 146 in Torah Ohr, Parshas Yisro. Vechol Hoom Roim is HaKolos, Ves HaLapidim, Ves Kol HaShofar, V'Gomer. So, so the Pasuk we know that by Matan Torah, it was a big show. There was also a sound system, right? Lapidim is fire, and kolis, all kinds of sounds, and then there was kol shofar. So the Alter Rebbe asks, Lahavin, Lama haya kol shofar b'matan Torah? Why was there a shofar? V'chi leklei shir hayu tzrichin. They needed music. Now, I just touched the words, but we have to be a little more fancy. We have to think about what the Alter Rebbe is saying in the meaning. Chassidus explains that singing is a good way to open up our emotions. That's why Chassidim would sing in davening, because they want to feel what they're davening. So, right, when a person raises their voice and you sing it, you get emotionally stirred, moved. So what the Alter Rebbe is asking is, Matan Torah was such an incredible event that it didn't need music to help people become Nazirah. Right? It was itself powerful enough that people were Nazirah. It needed music. It needed Klei Shir. That's the Alter Rebbe's question. Then the Alter Rebbe adds, Ve'oid, let's say they did need instruments. If they needed instruments, that's what you take, a shofar. It should be something more beautiful, a harp, a flute, a violin, not a shofar. There's no better instrument. The Alter Rebbe, okay, ha'inin. So that's the end of those questions. Now he goes like this. Hine kol ha-shofar hu kol poshut. The sound of the shofar is simple. Umatel ema, it causes fear. Shehu kol charada, people tremble from a shofar. Ukamesha kasav, like the pasuk says, Im yitak ha-shofar be'ir va'am lo yachradu. Will you blow the sound of shofar and people are not going to tremble? Now, you're going to say, oh, but by Matan Torah was different. No, it's not different. Read the psukim by Matan Torah. It says that the shofar was sounded, by Yecherad, the people trembled. So even by, right? So why do we... Yeah, so why was that necessary? Why do you have to cause people to tremble? They trembled. Why is that? Yeah. Al-Kolze, still, Nikra Shefer. So, I'm explaining a little bit the background of the Kashas of the Alter Rebbe, so a little bit more background here. Chassidus explains that, first of all, by Matan Torah, the shofar was like in the middle. There was fire, and there were kolos, and there was kol shofar. There were sounds on the right and sounds on the left, and then in the middle, that was the shofar. Okay? There are different types of instruments. There are string instruments, right? There are wind string, like violin and guitar, right? And then there are wind instruments, like a clarinet and a trumpet, right? There are wind and a shofar, right? So what the Alter Rebbe is saying is The shofar, what is the shofar? The shofar, what it does, it's the heart of all the wind instruments. Right? It's the heart of it. Meaning, in the other instruments, you have more activity. You move your hands with the trombone, you move your fingers, right? Here, you only have the blowing. It's simple. The blowing, in the language of Chassidus, we're going to call that the mocker. The mocker means the source from where everything, right? That's the beginning of everything. Moshe Rabbeinu is the source of the Torah. Why? He gave it to us, so he's the source. Okay, every person has a brain. Today you think about this, tomorrow you think about something else, but you have a capacity to learn. Right? Like in your mind you have ability. That's like the mocker of it. Shofar represents a certain mocker, which from where the Torah would come. Now, the mocker is a funny place. Okay, a mocker is a funny place. Let's say, nowadays we have machines, but a lady is going to have a baby. Right? We don't know if it's going to be a boy or a girl. It's a mystery. Right? Let's say, why? Because it's in the source. It's also called a mocker. Right? A person has a brain. What are you going to think about today? I don't know. What's it going to be, a boy or a girl? I don't know, it's a mystery. Right? Who knows tomorrow? What Matan Torah, what was revealed at Matan Torah wasn't the details of the whole Torah, 613 mitzvahs. The source of the whole Torah was revealed. Now, the source, going back to what I just said, we don't know if it's going to be a boy or a girl. Is it right or left? I don't know. That's what shofar is. Shofar is, it's right and it's left and it's a boy and a girl. You understand? It's a potential.
It's everything to do with
Right? So, in Chassidus, when we talk about right and left, we talk about chesed and gvura. By Matan Torah, we have koilos. The koilos are chesed. We have lapidim, we have fire. That's gvura. And then we have koil shofar. Koil shofar, that's like the center that brings the potential. What is koil? Sound. Sound is the revelation. Right? I want to just share some points of what Alter Rebbe is going to speak about here. Avram Avinu, he fulfilled Torah and mitzvahs. So the Alter Rebbe says that when we serve Hashem, we need fire and water. We need a little right and a little bit of left. We need Ratzeh and Shuv. Avram Avinu was always in Ratzeh and Shuv. These are things, the adults, we spoke about this many, many times. This idea, but the neshama, I'll just use this example. The neshama in the body, the neshama is a ruchni, is the kefin. The body is physical. Gashmis and ruchnis really can't combine. So what do? The neshama touches the body and moves away. Touches and moves away. And that's the heartbeat and breath. When you're alive, it's not static. You're not just alive. It's not like
turn on the light.
Like a battery. You put a battery in the thing. It's quiet. It doesn't make any noise. It doesn't tick. Right? The old watches used to make a sound, and they used, right? You wind it, and today with the battery, it's quiet. There's nothing. But a human being, because the neshama and the guf are gashmias and ruchnias. So you take a breath in, you touch. You let out the breath. You take a breath. Okay, every second the neshama and the guf is like this. Okay, the gash, because it's really they can't connect. When we connect with Hashem, it's the same thing. So in Torah and mitzvahs, there's always this. Some mitzvahs make us closer, some mitzvahs farther. Closer, farther, closer, farther.
How does mitzvah make you further?
From Jacob's side, it's like he's no very hituk. It's so vested, so connected. That's why we can fix the body cannot be without the shoulder.
That's why the body what?
That's why we cannot say the body cannot be without the shoulder because it's so vested, so much.
Right. It's also true. That's also true. It's another
I don't
inyan.
know where he took it.
No. It's another inyan, right? So that's even here the Alter Rebbe speaks a little bit about, right? So that's on one hand. So Torah and mitzvahs have to have a little bit of this. In other words, on one hand, I understand and I learn and I appreciate. And on the other hand, I don't understand, but I do. Right? In mitzvahs, you have both. We do mitzvahs with physical objects. Avram Avinu, he did this whole dance, all beruchnius, like a malach. Inside his heart, he experienced the whole time this dance with Hashem. Okay? He loves him, he listens to him. Okay? During the time of Avram Avinu, Gashmius was too fagrept. It was too coarse. It wasn't possible to do a mitzvah with Gashmius yet.
Not channels,
Huh?
not channels to become rockers. Not channels.
No channels?
Yeah, because we say this, what is Robbie because
In other words, through being in Mitzrayim, we became more refined.
but the same cows, the same...
Right, but because we were in Mitzrayim, our physical actions are more gentle. And every time a person suffers, hopefully, their actions... I don't mean hopefully for the suffering.
No, people became more able.
Right. Every time a person, and the Alter Rebbe writes clear in the Maimer, look these words.
That's why the Rebbe
On
gives
Ayin
somebody
Daled,
knas.
the last two lines of Ayin Daled. V'chein bifrat kol odom hayisurim shaloi lezachech mitzvosov. Right? When he's more able. What he does is more spiritual, it's more delicate, it's more agile, what he does. He's more careful. So far we have three things. Torah, what is Torah? Torah is a combination of right and left. It's a combination of closeness to Hashem with understanding and bittul, and just doing what I need to do. Two, Avram Avinu, he did all of that spiritually, inside, emotionally. And at that time, Gashmius was too coarse to be able to use a physical object to achieve that kind of relationship with Hashem was not possible. I hear your question. Through being in Mitzrayim, we who are not at the level of Avram Avinu, we use physical objects in our actions through mitzvahs to experience this combination of Rotza V'Shoiv, of the fire and the water in our relationship to Hashem. All of this becomes possible by the shofar, because the shofar is the mocker. The mocker meaning it has in it both. It creates the potential for pleasure and for pain. In other words, for bittul, the narrow part of the shofar represents Kabbalah Soul. And the opening of the shofar represents pleasure. Okay, that's a general overview of the first section. Let's learn a little bit inside. One of the Rabbeim This, I think that this Maimer is a halacha from the Alter Rebbe's brother. And one of the Rabbeim said that the Maharil didn't. It's missing.
Really?
He missed some points. So the Mittel Rebbe has it's a Shavuos Maimer, Matan Torah. So he fills in. Yeah.
The rabbit fills in and
He
stuff
fills
like
in.
crazy. He doesn't stop filling.
So I'm gonna start from the beginning, okay? I'm just gonna quick review here. The questions. Why was there Koil HaShofar? In other words, what's the question? The question is, Koil is Ma'ir HaKavanah. Was Matan Torah boring? It needed to be Ma'ir HaKavanah. It was missing. And if Vechil Klei Shir Hoyu Tzrichin, that's what they needed, an instrument. If you'll tell me that they do need Hisayrus, so you use a shofar. There's more beautiful instruments. Halu b'seik ha-shofar, halu b'nevel v'chiner. The Mittel Rebbe writes clear this, right? He writes clear this the capital Tillim. There's nothing better than shofar. Ha'ini. Ki nekel ha-shofar hu kol poshut. Umatel emo shu kol charoda. And even by Matan Torah, Ksiva Yikelis of Rokim Gamer, Bekel Shefer Chazuk made by Yecherad Vegamer. Right? And the Mittel Rebbe adds that what do we see by shofar? That it seems that the shofar was the most dominant sound and the Indian of, like later on, by He Koila Shefer Heilich V'Chazuk Moed Moshe Yedaber V'Likim Anenu V'Koil. It's all through the shofar. Yes, there were other things, but the shofar is the strongest. Im kol ze nikra shofar. Even though the shofar is matel charada, even though it scares people, and it's only a kol pashut, but still there's something about a shofar that the word shofar means shapru ma'asechem, beautify your conduct. Shehu hamam shech tainug. Sheboy ve'al yodei through shofar nimshach lamato lias hishavus tainug. Right? It becomes the capacity for pleasure. Ki hu, because the shofar is from mibchinas moker atanug. Right? It's from the moker. V'amshach hazu esatzich lias b'matan Torah mibchinas kimcha meker chaim moker atanugim. Matan Torah had to be the moker of all this. He asks a lot of beautiful questions over here. I don't want to confuse this also with other ma'amorim here. When I was looking over, I felt like we learned all. I felt like we learned all the Yisro ma'amorim already. You know, like.
You remember this member that animal has two shofar, one shofar during Mashiach time from the right side, left side.
So, it says here, in one of the other Mamorim, he says, why do all the neshamas have to be there? And what kind of Indian is it for neshamas without a goof to be there? You know, all these funny questions.
Practical.
Yeah.
All these funny questions. Ubir Indians. Here, it's all love Indian Matan Torah. We have to understand what's this Indian. Shalekam Kaid Matan Torah Tzadikim Menavim. Adam Arishan Chanech Mesushalach Chulu. Noach is also on the list. Yeah, he also asks this question right in the beginning, in the first mimer, and we discussed this question from a few different ways. You know, I could be a good person. Why do I need mitzvahs? Like, what's this whole Indian? I could be connected to Hashem. V'Avrom ki im kol atera gam at sheleinit no k'meshakoseh v'yishmer mishmarti rak shohaya zeh beruchni u'schulu. What Avram did wasn't physical performance; it was spiritual. So v'eizer shinui hoya b'nesinas atera b'gashmius. What changed? What happened? What was the achievement? Ach hine, ma'aras Avram hoyso halech v'nesayah hanegba. Avram Avinu was going towards Ava. Shenasa b'chinas merkava l'b'chinas negba. He became the chariot for chesed atzilus.
And Negba means, I forgot,
Ah,
south.
yeah, yeah. V'ad shenasa merkava, until he became that in his journey. He never rested. He was continuously in motion. And there are two words, halach v'nasaya. So the Alter Rebbe says, these two movements or motions represent Rotza v'shoiv. Rak. The Gabi Chayes HaMerkava, by the Malachim, we call it Rotza v'shoiv. By Avraham Avinu, we call it Halach v'nasaya. Ma'al in Rotza v'shoiv. What's this in? The pasuk says, Oiseh Shalom ben Roim. So here the Alter Rebbe goes into this discussion about right and left, connecting the opposites. It says that Hashem, He makes peace. What do Chazal say? That sheyesh, that there's eish and there's mayim, there's fire and there's water. Ve'ena mayim mechaben es ha'eish. The Chura ain't moving. The Alter Rebbe says, what do you mean? By Hashem, there's fire. What kind of fire? It's a bonfire. It's like baimer. There's water. What kind of water? Eich shayach loymar bimroimov. How could we say in the spiritual worlds that there's eish umayim?
What type of water?
So he's saying like in the yeah. Umahu. What does he mean? That hamayim mechaben es ha'eish. If you're going to tell me, oh, it's spiritual. If it's spiritual, so what does it mean that the water extinguishes the fire, and then you have to make peace? Achahutzach lasses sholem. He explains the Eshu Mayim Hein Bechinas Ratzav V'Shoiv. It's all the same. Fire and water is Ratzav V'Shoiv. Ratzav, right? I'm just going to go back. The Gemara tells us a story that there were 4 tzaddikim that went into the Pardes. Basically, 4 tzaddikim that had such a yearning for Hashem that they went into the secrets of Kabbalah in order to connect to the Eibishter. 3 of them, the Gemara says, right. The story, right? And only Rabbi Akiva nichnas b'shal. The lashon haGemara, we say it like from Ein Yaakov. Remember, we were looking for that lashon arm. Nichnas v'yotzav b'shalom.
Yeah.
Yotzav b'shalom. Yeah. He brings from the Ein Yaakov. He brings the lashon from the Ein.
Right,
Yaakov.
we found it. It came like a page later.
Okay, noida. I think it's in the Ein Yaakov in that lashon. Sheyeseid ha'eish believe. The heart, that's the fire of a person. Shesham hatzimoin. Fire means to be thirsty. Thirsty, the b'chinas ratzui. The person is curious, they're searching. That's the inyan of ratzui. Ukemainer, like the pasuk says, imratz libcha. So it says libcha. It's your heart. Libcha daike. The heart, that's where ratzui is. We spoke by an earlier shir that leiv means the center, meaning when a person truly understands, like we say in Oz Yashir, Kofu Sahimois Belev Yom. Right? We understand that the heart, the ocean doesn't have a heart, the sea, but Belev Yom means. So when a person internalizes the Eibishter, he has a tzimoin. Yizbein Yudas ein seif baruch hu shekishmoi kein hu ein lei seif ve'ein lei tachlis. The Eibishter has no end; is infinite. V'ak hoide al eretz v'goyne u'malchus chamalchus kol elamim. It's only Hashem's malchus that gives life to all the worlds. Shekol elamim chiyuson v'kiyumon v'isavusam ma'ayin leyesh. Bringing them into existence, sustaining them, is all mibchinas malchusi yizbarich, which is only a ha'ara ba'alma, hispashtus lezulasi, she'ene negea la'atzmusei muhusei kivyachol. That's completely not negea to him, right? In other words, I try to give only a edel mishalim from it, right? It's all a show. The whole inyan of Malchus right? It's like the exact opposite of the idea of a dira. Right? When a person is at home, they're completely comfortable, they're relaxed, they're at ease. The whole Indian of kingship is to be is a projection, right? Let's say, Aaron, I don't know if you know, when a person models, they have to even learn how to walk. Right? There's a special way to walk. Right? You know, it's like that's not how people walk in the street, how people walk on a runway. Right? It's all projection. It's all klape chutz. Right? It's not normal. Right? It's all and that's what he's saying is not only when you say
when a pianist performs and he goes like dun, dun. When he's in recording studio, he's just doing this. But when he's in front of the crowd, he's going dun, 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 you know. And,
yeah, he's shaking his long hair.
yeah, right.
Right. The whole Malchus, the whole Indian of Malchus, is a projection. It's all not me. It's all not the yeah.
It's just.
Kihu the Kivyochel Kodesh Multum together Amen Lev V'chinas Mamali V'Lev V'chinas Seviv the Eibishter any Dargan Alikus Seviv Mamali Asher Al Kein therefore Tichla V'Tich Seif Nafshe the person will yearn Likola V'Levatul B'Messias B'Ein Yisrael Baruch Hu Mamash L'Adavka B'Ei Mamash. I want just to speak about this.
We need to get more books.
Just to speak about this Indian for a minute is really beautiful. You have to go up and just touch it. It's unbelievable.
Perfect for the luchas, you know.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Akoponim.
We have curtains.
Everyone who's watching the shir could see the bookcases in the back, the newly installed. Akoponim. Even though the king is only projecting, the people who observe, admire, and can love, right? They could really no.
People lost the shoulders, they say, boy, should go get yourself.
Go get
They told boy should go to get yourself.
Go get.
I mean, brief for us because our the show was.
Right.
But very безкавіко вважаю, because yes, I understand it's there by black fire and white fire was written. So,
Yeah.
But
So he fakert. The whole Indian of Chokhmah, this mimer speaks more about water.
I see mine.
Yeah, mine. Yeah. V'lachein hachayis rotze v'shoy. Ki b'hi yisa masigim hachayis hanim shechanim d'shes in Yisrael Baruch Hu, since the malachim understand their mocker. She'en l'sei v'tich l'chulu harayim bayarim kimare alapidim b'chinas rotzei, they yearn to be connected to Hashem. Ki hi mishaleches bein hachayis. The lapidim, yeah. She'achayis hanim shechlaim hi mishaleches tomid b'chinas rotzei gam ki liyis v'lishet chukozech. The highest that's in them is like a candle. It's always in a state of yearning. Libata v'likola b'nei Baruch Hu mamash. K'shal heves ha'olam me'elav. Ach achakach, after following this great intense yearning, hem b'chinas shuv. U'kamayim b'rimratz livcha shuv la'echad. B'chinas shuv hazeh, hu b'chinas yisod hamayim shebamoyach. That's the mind which is cool and calm. Chochma keach ma. What's the ma? Ma pishpashta. What are you looking for? In other words, who do you think you are that you're going to research and be connected? Ma yodaita. What do you know? Zehu shuv le'echad. Sha'shuvu gam ken leb'chinas echad. It's also bittul. Bittul brings the yearning and the V'hinei b'chinas shuv, b'chinas madrega zu. When this is the fire and the water, ein hamayim shebemeach meraven es hatzimoyin. The water doesn't quench the thirst. Shem yisei deish belev lias mechaben es eish legamri. V'lias neifel al yidei zeh madrega hatzimoyin v'atshuka shebelev, that you no longer yearn. No, Tomorrow you're again yearning. To have even a more intense, like it says in Sefer Yetzirah, Eish mimayim chulu, v'kama minei eish, eish eicheles ve'eish oiseh. And that was Mailas Umidas Avram Avinu Olav Hasholim, Holich v'nosei atomid, v'chinas rotze v'shuv, eish umayim, eish l'mayla mimayim, umayim l'mayla me'eish, adrei ma'maylis, achenasa merkava. We have a lot of things that could. Remember that story that I told you about the Alter Rebbe, that they saw he smiled in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei. So they asked him why he smiled. He said because today a chassid passed away. He had a friend who wasn't a chassid, and as he was passing Gan Eden on the way to Gehenna, he saw his friend that wasn't a chassid in Gan Eden, and the friend called out to him and he said, you see. You're going to Gehenna. And the chassid called out to his friend who was in Gan Eden, and he said, you're such a misnagid. You'll be even 20 years in Gan Eden, you're still not going to know there's a Eibishter. Right? So the chassidim learned, they studied the story. What does it mean that on the way, how do you pass Gan Eden on the way to Gehenna? They said basically there are many levels. What he's saying here, there's mayim and eish l'mayla mimayim and mayim l'mayla.
It seems like the Misnagids Gan Eden was on a lower level than the Chassid's Gehenna.
So they explain. A person who does the right thing his whole life, even without Avos V'Yirah, of course he goes to Gan Eden, but it's a basic. Right? It's about a certain awareness. Whatever, that's one Indian, one concept.
There's a famous joke that there's a Lubavitcher in Gehenna and there's a Misnagid in Gehenna. And then there's a wrestler. So when Nachman comes, he says, "What are you doing?" He grabs him at the face, takes him out.
Yeah.
Well, the wrestler comes, and grabs him.
He's doing miftzayim.
Grabs him. The little guy sees his tongue and goes, I told you so. I'll see you later.
I told you so.
So if the whole thing is, I told you so, it's still about me.
In every Rotz of the Shov, what he's saying about Avram Avinu is that ultimately you don't go back to the same place. Every cycle you end up in a higher place. This washing machine of the Rotz of the Shov, you keep on being elevated. Right? That's an important akaponim.
So you don't fall back to the pit. Now you're in a higher category.
Hine kol zehu b'mailus u'madregus ruchnius ha'elumis b'mailus hatzadikim ha'hilchim l'fnei ha'olakim u'mailus malachei ashoris. This way of living in a state of Rotz of Shov, that's by tzadikim. Achloi kol odom zeichel ozeh sheyara olav ruach mimorim love l'bchinu madregazu. Not every person could live in such a place. Lias tamid l'bchinas holech v'nasoya, to be perpetually in such a yearning for Hashem in such a way. Lazeh nitna Torah. That's why the Torah was given, and he uses again the words hein, because it's the same Rotz of Torah. Hein ha-mitzvahs gashmiyim, ba'asiyah gashmis, shebahem va'al yodam yuchal kol odam gamkein liyaz v'bchinas holech v'naseya. And that's why we have to do this every single day. Ve'al inyan. Ki hini ba'asiyah gashmis shel ha-Torah, in the physical practice of Torah, yesh gamkein b'chinas eish u'mayim. Torah itself is mayim. Sheyeredes mimakim gavoya l'makim nomuch. that the Torah, even as it comes down, it remains Torah Hashem. And then he says, V'nikra, this Lashon, Al Toimru Mayim Mayim, is in the Gemara, when he tells them, the Dalet Shenichnasu Lepardis in Chagiga. So I don't know how to remember, he gives them instructions. When you go, so when you see water, don't say water. In other words, don't allow the water to stop you. You keep on going. It says, Al toimru mayim mayim. Don't say, oh, water, water. It says, why does it say beis pa'amim? Because there's two inyanim mayim in Torah. Mayim, beis pa'amim mayim. Mayim al yoinim, that's the source. Bechinas yam hachachma. The yud ilah, which is Lamayla Bebchinas Gilead Torah Atzma. It's the mocker of Torah. Teiraisa Mechachma Nafkas. It emerges from Chachma. Shegiluya Hu Mechachma Ulamata. It's below Chachma. The revelation of it is below. And then there's Mayim Tachtoinim. B'Seif Maisa. Kiyum HaMitzvahs Gashmi is B'Poyel Mamish. A king, you know how we know he's a king? That when he tells people to do things, they do them.
He gets done.
Right? Then I know, oh, he's a king. Right? That's the story with the Berditchever. You know, when the government said you're not allowed to make mashke, you're not allowed to have mashke, so he could buy on the black market. And then he said, he went on Pesach, he said, find a Jew that has chametz.
Mm-hmm.
Go buy chametz. Who's the king? The Eibishter is the king. Because they listen to him. What are mitzvahs? You doing what Hashem wants. That's malchus. Yeah, sheshorsham hu mibchinas mayim oyenim. Mibchinas malchus yishal ein soif baruch hu ba'atzmei v'chveidik v'yochol. It's nimshach, the mitzvahs gashmiyim are sourced in the mayim oyonim, and the way they are lamata, that's the mayim tachtoinim. The derech klal, in a general way, ramach mitzvahs asay are chasodim. You know, we bechlal refer to mitzvahs as tzedakah. It's all kindness.
It says that Hashem separated the Mayim Oyonim, Mayim Tachtonim in 6 days of creation. They're separated. No?
Yeah. I don't know that he's speaking about the same.
If it overlaps, I'm just wondering.
Yeah. And then another thing is, so Bechlal we call mitzvahs chasadim because we're helping people. But here he's also saying because mitzvahs bring Hashem into the world. That's also a chesed. It's a hashpah of a likus into the world. Lefi shebahem v'al yodam nimshach hamshach hasein so baruch hu lamata kim maimer asher kitshon u'mitzvayso shaydei ha-mitzvahs nimshach keidesh v'elyin the Eibishter which is kadosh u'muvdil is sheira u'mizgad lamata v'kol hamshacha hi b'chinas chesed u'mayim the is sheira yet ach yesh b'hem gam kein there's also eish. There's also gvuris in mitzvahs. What are they? The limits in mitzvahs. This high, square, all these details. So he says, there's also gvuris. Lias dafke, shemitzvahs will bekach dafke, ukamei sukkah gevel ma'al psula. Tzitzis, chutin shleimin, the strings have to be whole. V'kaitza b'zabukala mitzvahs, shepratehen v'dikdukehen hein b'chinas gvuris v'tzimtzumim. That's all the gvuris. Ela she'im klulim mechasodim gam kin chulu. The hashpah is the chesed. V'hareinim. So what do we see? Sheyesh b'teira gam kin b'chinas eshu mayim b'asiyah gashmis gam kin. In the physical fulfillment of mitzvahs, we have chesed and gvura. Eish umayim. Through our performance of mitzvahs, the Eibishter also journeys Lias Gamkein Holich V'Naseya to this world, and this koyach Lias Nimshach our ability to cause Hashem to respond to our mitzvahs Nitein Liyisrael B'Matan Torah. That's the inyan of Nesinas HaTorah. Shenitin lias nikra shem mitzvah al dvarim gashmiyim. You do a physical act, it's a mitzvah. Liyas bahen kayach zeh, shal yodom yumshach erein seif baruch hu. Ach lahavin me'ach hashagam ayde b'chinas atera yog v'yegel b'chinas holach v'naseya. Im kain, lama le'nit ha'atera la'avram. Why wasn't it given to Avram? Shekiyim kol ha'atera b'ruchniyusa. V'lama le'nitna le'gam b'gashmiyusa. Why didn't Avram Avinu get the Torah, the physical Torah? Why did he remain in such a spiritual state? Lahavin zeh, we'll learn just a few more lines. Tzarech lahakdim biur atam sheyesh ha'koyach hagadol hazeh b'mitzvahs liyas al yodam dafke hamshachas erin sol baruch hu. Why do mitzvahs have this incredible power? V'harei kol ha-mitzvahs nasa medoimen tzemeach chai. Mitzvahs are physical objects, like a korban mincha is made from soilas tzemeach. Korbanos are behema, tefillin, klaf shel behema. All these things were tachas memshalas klipas neiga. Veich yiyu ha-korbanos dafke ishe yech necheach la'Hashem. How could these physical things be a nachas for Hashem? Nachas ruach. Reach is Allah mimata l'mayla. Necheach is nechais. Nachas yerida hamshach hamayla l'mata. How could it be? Pirish. The is gili avaya. Hamshachas en soch abamad is galya through karbonis, through tefillin and tzitzis. How could it be? Okay. Now he brings a mashal, and we're going to skip the mashal. The mashal is from eating, and the point is tohu and tikkun.
Okay. I heard that. Okay.
Right? You heard that before, right? So food used to be very spiritual. It's from tohu. But the first word on the line is ach. Ach, al kol zeh, or im kol zeh, harei ha-meichel nofel lamata. It's no longer spiritual. Now it fell through shviras hakelim. V'yora tachas hamshalas noiga. Ulekach nizgashem ma'id. Not only is food very megushim, but it's also very megashem those who eat it. Umegashem es ha'odom ha'oichlei. Shemoirid es nafshoi. Lahamshich ha'chagash miyas ha'olam. He says, even a tzaddik, it also affects him. What does it say there? Look at these words. Yoser hoya yofeloi v'loy amaychel. The tzaddik, even the tzaddik that's eichel aseva nafshay, he would have been better off if he wouldn't have to eat. Ulekach Moshe Rabbeinu loy ochal bahor arboim yom. Hagam shemalose gevei amoid. Even though he's such a great person, but when he eats, it's at chumri es hamaychel v'gasusoi, it draws him down. So loy ochal, he didn't eat.
It does says became very crook.
Va'afilu mon, even lechem abirim, lechem of the malachim, loy ochal ish, zeh Moshe, fisherachs l'kabel ha'Torah. He wanted to receive the Torah, which is l'maylo and madregas ha'malachim. They asked Noy Chal HaShamayim, the Eibusha said no. Ulekach, because Gashmius is so coarse, loy nitna Torah adayin b'mei Avram. Ki b'mei Avram adayin loy nizbarer v'nizdache chumrius ha'olam. The world was too coarse. Lias hamshachas ein so baruch ha'idei ma'isa ha'mitzvahs Gashmius, which are from the Klipas Noiga. V'loy hoyu chelim l'kabel aris ein so baruch hu, that they should be called a mitzvah adach ha'yetzias Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is kur ha'barzel. Kur, melting pot. Mitzaref l'kesef v'kur l'zov. Gedelias hagoy sigim mikesef she'akur hu hamafrid hasigim. Dainu shelo yeh taruvis pseilis v'kesef v'zov, to refine it. Kach hu Mitzrayim is a kur ha'barzel she'zichech es Yisro, it refined them through the koshi hashivut b'chem ruvavenim. So the ra was nifrad. It broke down the evil. When bad people do bad things, that itself brings to their own demise. When bad does bad things, I won't have any arrows. Like a leech. When it sucks the blood, it dies.
And it binges, yeah.
The negative doesn't make positive.
When the Yidden were refined, that answers your question. The Chumri you say, it's all up to the Yidden. Now we could do a physical thing. שבהם והיודם תהיינה המשך עשה ברוך הוא גם באכילת קורבנות, הקרבת מנחה, ישריח ניחח. Im kol now, by understanding this background, you've no kama kushis, hamvorim b'svorim, like Lomo Nos Yaakov Beis Achoyis, because it was all beruchnius, and the Torah wasn't ready yet. V'amram Nosa Deidose. Nowadays is Kurzak Korah Barzel for Ayidei Yimeis HaMashiach. Everyone agrees we're going to do mitzvahs. Deeper when Mashiach comes. Umolar is there. Complete Shabbos in mitzvah. He goes back to the shofar and the narrow. Okay, I should pay everyone.